The Bear Essentials podcast gives older bears a place to gather for real talk regarding topics and issues that they can relate to. Here at The Bear Essentials, we aren't just having conversations. We are looking to provide actionable intelligence through real-life experience and expertise of our guests. Our mission is to build a strong community that elevates and motivates people to go beyond their limiting beliefs by helping them realize that getting older is not an excuse to hibernate on their goals, but a reason to work harder.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. I'm your host, Charles Wallace. Today's guest is a relentless force of inspiration. From a man who has been incarcerated, from a man who has fought addiction, from a man who has struggled with his own mental health, to now being not only a successful businessman, but an inspirational speaker and also an accountability partner. Please, without further ado, let's welcome the inspiring Chris Smith to the show. But first, a word from our sponsor. Wolfinger Consulting, experts who have achieved real results for their clients, including complying efficiently and successfully with overwhelming discovery orders, passing difficult third-party security audits, and deploying bleeding-edge technology platforms to control and preserve corporate information. Let them show you what Wolfinger Consulting can do for you. Be sure to check out their webpage at wolfingerforensics.com. Hey, Chris, how you doing? Thanks for joining me today. I'm excited for this, and I really appreciate it.
Hey, I'm grateful to be on here with you, man. I've been looking forward to this, and here we are. Here we are.
Yeah, we're about to make broadcast history here, right, my friend? So,
why not? Why not?
Why not, right? Sky's the limit. So, hey, maybe listen, I was saying this to you before we started. I've had some names on here that may be a little more well known. Like, I know who you are, Chris Smith, but other people may not. But I think they need to know who you are. So, could you introduce yourself to the audience?
Absolutely. My name's Chris Smith. I am from Tennessee. I live in Tennessee. Hey, y'all. And I'm 43 years old, and I love sharing my story. I am an individual that is in recovery from a lot of things. And I had a 22-year meth addiction, 24-year opiate addiction, mental health disorder. I've been incarcerated as a juvenile, as an adult, multiple arrests, homeless, and I could go on and on. Dysfunctional family, just come from a lot of brokenness. And I say all that to say that who I am today are broken pieces of that build to bridge over into who I've become, and who I've become today, utilizing all that pain and all that hurt into a purpose. Today, I'm an individual that has overcome that stuff, and I give back today. I help as many people as I can today, and that would probably be the best way, without getting into any particulars, to describe who I am. I am a person that helps people, and that's it. And I think that's the greatest thing that we can do. I was told in my recovery to keep what you have to give it away. And the greatest way that we can reciprocate that is to be of service to people and meet a need, whether it's a micro level or macro level, individually, collectively, it doesn't matter. We show up and meet people where they are, exactly where they're at. Literally, just go to wherever they're at and help where we can with what we have. And that's who I am. That's who I am today. And it keeps me outside of self. And so it shows me too that, hey, man, Chris, you don't have it as bad as you think you do. And so I'm a fella that wakes up grateful in the morning time just to be able to suck a little air and wake up in a bed because I remember what that's like, not having one, with a roof over my head, running water. I can go to the fridge, grab something to eat, and say, okay, who am I going to help today? Who can I help today? And so that's the person I am today. I'm a person that helps people that has a need that needs to be met.
Yeah, I can tell that I'm going to be sore after this podcast, man. I'm going to be sore from smiling, bro, because you bring such an authenticity that just radiates, my friend. And when I started following you on social media, and I said, man, this guy's doing a lot of good things. And then I started to see a little bit about you and who you were. And it even became to me like, man, like this story it needs to be told. It needs to be out there. And I'm grateful that you are allowing me this opportunity to have a conversation with you. I'm not even going to say interview, because this is just a conversation. And I like allowing the guest to introduce themselves, because I never know what's going to be said or where it's going to go, but you already said something that I'd like to touch on.
Mm-hmm.
You talked a little bit about your brokenness, and you talked a bit about knowing when you help people because you know where they are. Chris, how important is that as you look to help people that you've experienced some of these lows, that it allows you to kind of help them through their situations?
So, when I set out helping people, right, I kind of fell into a job where I get paid to do this. And at first I felt a little grimy. You know what I mean? I did, but I was going to do the work anyways. So why not get paid for it? And I was coming out of my pocket to help people. And so why not have funds set up that are allocated to help people, as I get paid for this. But when I meet people, I can see me. I can still see me. It keeps me so grounded. When I get caught, and I get, Charles, I don't know. I'll get 10 calls today, right? Could be a plethora of things of help. And so, and I was telling my buddy the other day, because I'll be transitioning jobs and he wants this job. And I was telling him the greatest thing that we could do for an individual is listen to the story. It doesn't matter, because those 10 calls I may get today, they may be the same call almost. Like it's almost just pre-written, like it's, and it's all gonna, but you treat each one the same, because every story is just as important as the 1,000th time that you've heard it, because they're people. And so I listen with intent, I listen with compassion to those stories, because at any moment, if I'm unguarded, I could be right back to where they're at, calling somebody for help. And so it just keeps me grounded. It keeps me grounded, and it reminds me that this could easily happen to me again. And so it's really there by the grace of God go I, and so I wanted to remain in this arena, because it's a difficult arena to be in. A lot of people can't handle that every day. And I get it. I do. I get it, because it's a lot of, it's really heavy. It's burdensome, a lot of turmoil and chaos, conflict. And it's like going into war. It is. It's going into war. And most of those individuals that I sit with aren't going to make it. They're not going to make it. If we look at the data, right? If we look at the statistics, I tell people you're not a statistic, but it is good to look at the statistics at the same time, because it shows us that we've got a lot of work to do. And most people just want to be heard. That's what I've come to find. And so I don't know if I'll ever have the words that persuade them to change, but I do have 2 ears, and I want to show them that somebody cares. And at the end of the day, that's what it is. Nobody is there to listen, and and so we rebel, and so we're trying to get attention. We're trying to get attention, and I want to sit down with that individual and say, I understand. I hear you. I love you. You are important, and you're cared for. And if you want to do something different, I will walk alongside you every step of the way, every step of the way. Because I want to be friends with them, Charles. That's my ultimate goal. That is my ultimate goal. I don't want to say, hey, good luck, I'm proud of you, and hit them with a pat on the back if they're doing good. I don't want that. No, no. I want to develop a relationship with you. I want you to know that you have a friend. You can call me at any time, not just when you need help, but to call me and say, hey, how you doing? That's what I want, you know. And so I want people to know that they are worth something, that they're valuable, and they are worth enough and valuable enough for me to sit with them, listen to them, and then walk alongside them in that journey, however long it takes.
So you talk about that journey, and you talk, and amazing what you're doing and the way you're, people can say I'm there for you, but what I see with you is you're there. You're there, you're in it. And I think that's so important. Chris, without getting into everything, right? Because I want to focus a lot on the positivity that you're bringing today, but obviously there was a start to that, and that started with you being broken. So when you're down and you're finding yourself during your period of darkness and you're broken, was there somebody there for you that you're now emulating?
It's rough. It's rough. I didn't know what love was growing up. Now, I had people there for me at some point here or there that tried their best. They did. I mean, with what they had and the things that they were dealing with as well, they were lost too. And so I had so many issues, right? And so much anger and hate built up. And when I finally had some clarity, I could look back on that and just understand that they were doing the best that they could where they were at in life, and they were struggling too, and I could see that. And so I didn't have love or guidance, a mentor, or somebody to put me under their wing and show me how to be responsible and grow or train me up in life. And so I'll just try to figure this thing out. And I won't ever forget it. This changed everything for me. And I was sitting in a prison cell on a fresh 16-year sentence. And there was a gentleman that came into my cell. And I was very familiar with him. We grew up in the same habitat, same environment, done the same things, and just really just a lot of trouble and heartache. And I was very familiar with him. And he came into my cell and he sat on my bunk, and we were watching TV in silence. And out of nowhere, he said, man, and everybody calls me Smitty. And he said, man, Smitty, he said, I'm going to change my life, man. I'm tired of this. And I looked at him and I started laughing. And I said, are you serious? And he was like, yeah. He said, I'm done with this. And I said, brother, I said, this is all we've got. This is it. Now, I became content. I just accepted the consequences. This was part of my life, in and out, in and out, in and out. And he said, I'm serious. I said, okay. I said, good luck. Good luck. He got out a year and a half before I did. And then when I got out, I happened to see him 2 weeks. And in that 2 weeks, I had already reverted back to doing the same things. I couldn't make it out here. And I seen a gentleman 2 weeks later. I seen that gentleman. I didn't recognize him at first. He was at a distance, and he started walking up, and I was like, man, he looks familiar. And it was my buddy that was sitting on the bunk, and he was different. He had his chest out, his head was up, he was smiling from ear to ear, and I mean, I can't even. It was like an aura around him, like a glow, a new person. And when he walked up, I said his name, and he said, "Yeah." He said, "I told you, brother. I told you I was going to change." And I said, "Man, you didn't have to tell me. I see it all over you." And I asked him, I said, "What'd you do?" And he told me what he did. That was the first time in my life that I'd ever seen hope, that I'd ever seen it. And from that time on, I had a girlfriend at the time, and he would call her every day to check on me, not to see how good I was doing, but to see how bad it had gotten. Mm. And that last day, I'd been up 5 days. I was one of my drugs of choice were methamphetamine. I'd been up 5 days on methamphetamine, and I was laying in a bed at my house, and I was trying to come down. I had done missed 2 appointments with my parole officer. I was headed right back to the place that I just left, and I really didn't want to go. I never give myself a shot, and all I said was, "God help me." That's it. 5 minutes later, I heard a knock on my window, and it was my buddy. And he told me to come to the front door. And when I came to the front door, I opened the door. We looked at each other for just a moment. And he said, "I came just in time, didn't I?" And I said, "You sure did, brother. I need help." He changed my life. He was used to change my life. And I'll never forget that, ever, because that was a pivotal point in my life where I'd seen hope, and hope didn't just show up. Hope came back and pulled me out of that place and walked alongside me. And I knew right then that that's what I wanted to do with other people. And so that was the first huge transitional step into the change of my life.
Man, Chris, that's powerful stuff, man. I mean, honestly, to me, like hearing, it's funny too, because when people hear you talk about that first time you saw hope, just because you saw it for the first time, it actually took hope kind of walking back and knocking on your door. And yeah. And listen, I think you talking about your buddy even, right? Mm-hmm. He probably didn't realize it at the time, but that knock on the door, not only does it help save you. I mean, I posted something before about how we're ripples in a pond, and probably didn't even realize that knock on the door was a ripple, and what that's done now, and how you've taken that hope that he brought to you, and how you've now taken that and you're bringing it to others. It's great stuff, man. And listen, Chris, I mean this, man. I want to give you credit because, I've seen, unfortunately, through some family members, I've seen the horrors of some of the things you've been through. And, I've seen people who in my life have had their struggles, and I wouldn't say that they've ever fully made it back, So seeing not just that you've come back, man, like Chris, you haven't just come back from it, man. You've kicked the goddamn door in, man. You've really blasted through it. And that's what I think really drew me to you, because listen, I think we all need certain types of ways that people may help us or what we respond to. I mean, I know when I saw you, I think what people gravitate to you, man, it's just this energy about you, man, that like, it's this no nonsense, but it's authenticity, and it's pretty damn amazing what you're doing, man. So kudos to you, my friend. Kudos. Now we talk about that story, but I'm sure along the way, though, right? That it's the start. I'm
Yeah.
assuming it wasn't like you just went from point A to where you are now, right? Like it's not that easy, right?
Charles, oh my gosh, fight of my life, for my life, really. I wish it was all sunshine and rainbows and it was just a straight line. You know what I mean? Like, and I stayed at what we call that pink cloud, and man, and I was like, this is great, and I'm feeling good, and 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 then I look at my life. I literally I started looking at my life when I was in the treatment facility, because mind you, listen, I've been to seven. I've been to seven treatment centers. Like I know how this works, in and out, all these places, whatnot. And so I made a decision. I said, okay, if we're going to get serious this time, like real serious, if this is truly life or death, if this is life or death, let me write down every area of my life that is or every life area that is connected to me, and let's do an assessment of that. And so I wrote down 12 life areas. I came up with 12, and I looked at them, and it broke me, bro. It broke me. I said, my life is in shambles, and I have got so much work to do. This wasn't about drugs and alcohol. This was about me. The drugs and all that other stuff were just byproducts of deeper rooted issues, and irresponsibilities and depravity and all these things. And I said, man, I've got a lot of work to do. And so I set out. I embarked on that. And there were times where I called home. I called my girlfriend. I called my mother, and I said, I'm coming home. I quit. This is way too hard. I quit. And I've done that my whole life. I've ran and ran and ran and ran from everything, and my wife, she's my wife today. I call her my girlfriend at the time, but she's my wife today. But she said, give it 24 hours. And if you feel the same way tomorrow at this time, I'll come and get you. What she was doing for me, I didn't know, was allowing me to feel those feelings, embrace those emotions, sit with them, and then understand that they go away. They go away. And so I quit having pity parties for myself and started working. Fighting my life. And I set goals for every area of my life, all 12 of those areas. And I found myself failing, making mistakes, growing and improving some areas, struggling with other ones. But I found myself continuously waking up every morning and fighting. And every morning when I got up, I would look in the mirror, and I still do it every single day. It does not fail. This morning, yesterday, tomorrow, if I get to see it, I wake up in the morning, and when I'm brushing my teeth and I spit that toothpaste out of my mouth into the sink, I look myself in the mirror and I say, I'm going to beat your ass today. I'm going to beat your ass. I am. Because that's the only person that's going to hold me back is me. And if I plug in, if I allow that other person that lies silently dormant, waiting to be fed some negative emotion that will arise, if I plug into that, all my energy is gone into what I want to improve on in my life. And so before we even unplug and plug into that bastard, I'm saying, no, brother, I'm going to beat the hell out of you today. You're done with. I want you to know that today. And so, so it's been, I made a post not too long ago. I said, on a whiteboard, and I had these circles, and I said, this is, I said, this is your goal right here, right? And I said, right here in another circle, I said, these are your plans. Like, this is your goal, your dreams, ambitions, and visions. This is your plans for it. And I said, this is the course. And I just drew big mess, a big mess. And at the end of it, I said, stay the freaking course, because that's what it's going to look like. It's going to look ugly. Nothing's beautiful about it. It's going to look ugly. But in the end, it's beautiful, because the journey is the reward in everything. It's not the result or the outcome. It's the journey. It's the journey of discovery. Who are you truly? Who you really are is in the process of what we do. Mm. And for me, that's been the most beautiful thing, because I get to uncover something new about me, something new. And that's exciting. That's exciting.
Chris, it's really, really cool as I listen to you speak is that when people hear your story and maybe look and see really where you were, how low some of those points in your life were, right? Like, I think what's really, really amazing about you is that your message, it kind of transcends people regardless of the state or where they are. Like, your message to me, it doesn't have to be geared towards somebody who may have had an addiction issue or they were in prison, right? Like, the way you just stated that, like, hell, man, like, we can all learn it. And Chris has a message that is right for a lot of us, that, we all could look in the mirror every day and say, I'm going to beat the hell out of you. And Chris, I'll be honest, I think that's the problem now, right? I think that person in the mirror scares a lot of people. We're afraid to confront that person. And I think that's another reason why I wanted you on, because I think the tenacity at which you go about life and your message and the way you're looking to help people, I think a lot of people and a lot of men need it. I think, like, I'll say it, I'm not afraid to say it. I was having this discussion the other day with a friend of mine. Like, I think sometimes as men, we need to have our ass kicked. And it's not about being coddled, man. We need to have our ass kicked. And I think what you bring and what you just did is we need to kick our own ass first.
So I say it all the time. Look, I love life. Okay. Like, I love it. And the people that are around me, I'm energetic, I'm always on the go, and I can celebrate life and I can have fun. But when we start talking about life, I am dead freaking serious. I am dead serious, and so, and I think that we can come out of anything. This wasn't about drugs or alcohol, right? This wasn't about my mental health disorder. This wasn't about my irresponsibilities. This wasn't about my fears. This wasn't about me. This was about me and my selfish self-centeredness, whatever that is, my ego, my pride, my pity parties, and I'm like, shut up. Shut up. I'm not disregarding feelings. I want you to have them, but feelings aren't facts. That's why my wife said, give it 24 hours, because I got over those feelings. Feelings aren't facts. And so I want you to understand, hey, you can feel however you feel. Let's have that little pity party and let's move the hell on and start putting some work in, And I'm an accountability partner for several people. And I mean, matter of fact, even tonight, which I'm so grateful, they're doing an appreciation ceremony for me and a few other members of our organization. And I'm proud of this, and I say that with all humility, that 3 years, June will make 3 years that I've had this position, and I've helped over 1,000 people, and this looks different for everybody. So and you said it best, Charles. So compassion sometimes looks like, if needed, in the understanding of whoever you're communicating with when you listen to them, how you approach them, with what type of compassion. Sometimes it is the hug. And sometimes it's the, okay, it's going to be all right. And then the other times it's the, get your head out your fucking ass and get to work.
Mm-hmm.
Quit doing this, get up, get out of this, and let's go. Shut up and start moving.
Mm-hmm.
It just depends. It just depends. And that can look like compassion, because some people need a good kick in the rear. They just do. And then they call me back and say, man, I appreciate you. You kept it real with me.
Mm-hmm.
So passion can look different, with different people. So we have to take different approaches, And so I think you said it, I think we coddle too much, and I get it and I understand. But some people take that kindness and run you over with it because that's part of their objective, and the manipulative tactics. That is strategic.
Mm-hmm.
But if you sit with and listen long enough, you'll be able to understand that that is their motive.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not gonna have it. If we're gonna get real, we're gonna get real. So I
Yeah, man.
appreciate, yeah.
No, that's just it's. I mean, listen, I can't. Uh, the way your approach, man, is just so what I'm about personally myself. Like I'll just share this with you real quick. When I was doing my struggle was different a little bit. It was the weight loss and the heart issues. Um, and I actually was talking the other day with at the gym with my trainer, and you'll know this because you're in the fitness, but I had to sit on the floor, grab the ropes, start to pull myself up to a standing position from sitting down, right? And got about halfway, boom, bust my ass, Chris, right? And he just looked down at me and said, pause his watch, go, okay, when you're ready, keep going. Like it wasn't even like, are you okay? Nothing. It was like, okay, it's it. And it was just this unwritten thing between him and I that I was like, that's how I am. So I was like, yep, I get it. Like I didn't need your hug. I didn't need you to feel bad. I needed you to not allow me to feel bad for myself. And I think that's what you do. And I brought that story up because I think that's what you do. And you mentioned your accountability partner. I think as we look to be accountability partners to people, that's what we need to do. Like, don't allow people to feel sorry for themselves, because that to me is the biggest way we go back into those dark places. It starts with that, by feeling bad, and it takes us down these roads, man. But man, you're so motivational, man. I don't even know if you mean to be, Chris, but you are absolutely one of the most motivational people I've had the pleasure of having on this show, my friend. So thank you, man. I can't say enough how much I appreciate it. I wanted to end with this though, man. I think more people need to know about you and see you. Can you just quickly tell people where can they find you and a little bit about what you're doing, now?
Okay, yeah. So, well, LinkedIn is the only social media site that I have. Matter of fact, I logged on 8.5 months ago. It's the first time I've been on in 7 years, and we'll be extending eventually outside of that to other social media platforms. But right now, LinkedIn is the only place that we have, and we'll be having a website come up. I do Fit for Recovery. And what that is, Fit for Recovery, is basically group exercise, and then we follow group exercise with group therapy, and then a goal setting session into areas that we need to improve our life on, and then we follow up with accountability partners in that. And so I'm going to be presenting that soon. I gave myself a year on here before I do that here, just to see if I was going to stay on. And so in 3 months, we'll be presenting that, and then also a website. Be looking for that. If you need some hard-nosed accountability and a good push, I'm your guy. So right now, yeah, just LinkedIn. And if you or someone is struggling with a substance use or mental health disorder, please reach out to me. DM me in LinkedIn. I'm going to put my phone number here. I had a guy yesterday from LinkedIn that lives in California call me or DM me, connected him. with some help, got a fella into a treatment center, or had access to a treatment center. He didn't go, but we provided it. So it doesn't matter where it's at. My phone number is 731-244-1449. Please, I don't care what time of the day it is, call me, because that may be the last call that someone ever makes, and I'm going to pick the damn phone up.
Man, Chris, it's amazing what you're doing, man. I can't say it enough. And I'm so glad we connected, man. You've actually turned into on LinkedIn one of my favorite people to follow. I enjoy your content. And it just, I don't know if this is good or bad for you, man, but we're definitely of like mind, my friend. And your content resonates with me a lot. So I really enjoy it. Listen, thank you everyone for listening. And I want to end with this just a little differently, because it just struck me, this part of the conversation with Chris. Once we're done here, once you're done listening, go look yourself in the mirror and let that person know their ass is yours. You're going to beat that ass today. So
come on, man. Yes,
go for it. All right, Chris, thanks, my friend. Thank you, everybody. Take care. Bye.
This has been the Bare Essentials. Thanks for listening. And remember, never hibernate on your goals.